I would try to run at least the customer master, post few IDocs and see how it works. But do not blame me if I am not successful. I mean, there won't be a successful load into SAP. The reason being, I need 12 teams to sit in my own job, my own server and configure them, which is never going to happen. But let me show you the default settings. I'm going into the customer master IDoc. First, we will have to understand what kind of a global variables are here that we can make use of them and understand what we can do with these global variables. First thing, I will go into properties. I will show how SAP delivers you these AIO packages or with these defaults. So if you see, everything is set to Y. We are talking about different views, and it will show you where the files has to come from, what it has to load. The load date is empty, never mind, it comes directly from your system date. Then the customer account group default is YB0. So they are just trying to say, for example, I will say it as male customer, female customer, or gay customer. So there are 3 types of customers that you can do it sex-wise. Or if you say wholesale customer, retail customer, or a distributor, you have a different category. So the highest is the customer account group here. And then followed by the company code. The default company code is 100. The default sales org default is 100. So you need not worry about all these defaults. The important default is currency is US dollar. If at all you wanted to change the default currency and load SAP with a German currency or a Japanese currency, that is fine. You have to make the settings here. So you are all doing here is they have pre-declared every variable, they have given a default value. But the important thing for you as a developer is the IDoc type, G message type, then receiver's port, and then finally the receiver's partner number. These 4 or 5 columns or 5 values are necessary, or even the client value is necessary. These 5 values you are the one who has to configure, or I can say the basis team actually configures and provides these 5 values for you. Only then you can post the job. As a normal developer, where do you go and find these 4 or 5 values? They are easily identifiable. You can just go and identify them. But you have to configure the IDocs with several things before you run this job, which you might have to talk to the you might have to talk to the basis team who does it for you. But let us do the basic configurations that we can see here. So I'm opening up my SAP environment, and I'm going to show this is the ECC system that we have on our server. The ECC system is here and the BI server is here. So we are more going to concentrate on the ECC system. This particular ECC system, the server configuration, they named it as EH5. So in this EH5, there could be more than one client, but currently we have only one client, that is the client 800. And how do you know which client you are going to use, or which client do you have installed? Because there will be multiple clients that they install as part of the SAP package. But currently I'm looking at the production system, which is a final system. So I call this as a golden client. The golden client is always, the client ID will be 800. So I'm trying to log on to the BI, I have to log on to the EHP5, but unfortunately I clicked on the other one. Never mind. So this is the EHP5 system. So here you see this is the client number. This client number has to be configured in your IDoc job. So I'm right away going to update this to 800. So 800 is the value. And then IDoc type. It says like DBMA SO6. I'm not expecting it to be different, because this IDoc type should have been a default one, and it should have been already configured in your SAP environment, because there are several IDoc types and messages like CREMAS, DebMAS. This is more of SAP terminology. If at all someone of you are SAP expert, please guide me through which transaction code I can go and look at it. This particular what I can say IDoc structure. But first, let me log in.
Yeah, you can go to W21.
Yeah, I will go there. 1 second. Yeah, I have an SAP expert here, so he will guide us. He will shed some light. So you're telling WE21, right?
Yeah.
Is it not WE0? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, it's a 2-digit, so you can give it directly 21. Okay.
Oh, sorry. I think it's W20.
Yes, you are correct. It should be actually W20. I already tried to go there yesterday and then find all the types. So these are the actual IDoc types that you could see. So if you see here, the name will appear under this partner type, and then partner type. So let me show you for customer what are the IDoc types that you could see. Customer should be.
So Ganapati, I think these are all the customers that come into SAP,
Okay.
But you configure, correct me if I'm wrong, you have to configure data services as a logical system, maybe? And
Yes,
then,
that is correct.
And then you will, in that inbound parameters, you will have DebMAS 06.
That is correct. You are right. I have to give the partner number and then input my SAP, create an alias or just like a virtual entry for my BODS. So if I am not wrong, I will show you what kind of a setting we performed on SAP, because I myself did not configure everything. I just got little help from the basis team. So because it needs a lot of SAP skills on top of it. So the first thing we do is we configure a logical system here. In the logical system, this is the user which we configured, the BOBJTFR. Because any IDoc that is getting posted, first it will try to look if the logical system is available or not. So this won't be available by default. You have several other systems here. So in this, I actually literally went in there and have created a partner role and a message type of matmas underscore BAPI, because this is required for material IDoc to get posted. In the same way, I'm going to add even the customer IDoc, but just give me a couple of moments, then we will do it. First, I'm trying to show step by step what all we need to configure on SAP, but never mind, you are not the person who is going to configure. You need to just have an idea about what all we try to do on SAP and how the configuration looks like, what each global variable is talking about. That's all you are very much interested. If some basis admin says, go and put the IDoc type as DebMAS, yes, by default, blindly put it there, because he would have configured it with that name. And for generally master elements, the IDoc type or message type is not going to change. It is the same DebMAS 06, same DebMAS, which are being already configured on SAP system. And let me see if I go and find it out where this IDoc type is. The first thing is the logical source, which I'm trying to show you here. But yeah, Arvind, if you could help me where I can go and find out the IDoc, what is it, type. There should be one other transaction code where I could find the IDoc type.
Oh, you mean to see what IDocs that came into SAP?
No. Where do you see the DebMAS or the CREMAS? In the same place, right? You have to add it here, right? The message.
Yeah, you have to add it here. Yeah. You go to the change.
It is just by I think if I click plus here, and then I can add it the message type.
Yeah.
Right. So in this message type, let me add the same message type, whatever I see here. because we are going to run the customer master load in just a couple of minutes.
Voice is breaking. Hello?
Yeah, Senil, I hear you, but I think rest of the people are able to hear me possibly well, which means, let me confirm with you.
Yeah, now it's okay. Now it's okay. Now it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's okay. That a few minutes back, some people speaking. That time I'm not here. I'm not able to hear that people voice, and your voice is clear.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Not a problem. So I will talk more than anyone else. So you are okay. You're covered there.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
No problem, man. So the process code here. What could be the process code, Arvind?
I think standard IDoc process code, I forgot.
I think it will automatically take it.
Yeah, you can put the debm. I don't know whether.
I think it will take it by itself. We need not worry about the process code because it takes the default. No, it's not taking it.
No, I think you need to put that standard IDoc process. Give me a minute. I can tell you.
Okay, thank you. So I just have put the process code, and I so that you know when we post the customer IDoc, this is the setting it is going to look at. If it doesn't find this message type, it is not going to post. So this is the same message type that is coming as the input. So I tried to configure yesterday just for material, and right now I did the message type configuration for our customer master. And then the receiver port. Receiver port, leave it as it is, the regular way, except that they have posted it for the 220 system. In generally, the 220 system is a sandbox environment, but here for us it is going to be 800. But ours is not an RSA client. Ours is the EHP or EH5. What is it? I'm very young, still I lose my memory. EHP5. EHP5 is the system. Instead of RSA client, ours is the EHP5 800 because that's the client that we are trying to use here. Even here, it is receiver port. It is not an SAP RSA. It is an SAP EHP5. So where do you find this? You always look at your SAP client logon. You will see that it is EHP5 as the actual system. Where do you see it? I'm inside this in the partner profiles even, or wherever you are in the system. You look at the bottom here. It is actually not EHP. It is EH5. So I am going to change it and put it as EH5 actually. I thought it is EHP5. No, it is EH5. So in the same way, it could be B1D, E1D, depending upon the system you are loading. But currently, because it is EH5, I'm right away configuring it like that, and I just apply it. So the moment I post the IDoc, I'm going to make sure that I have these all settings in the proper way. Only then I can just at least post the IDoc. Let me see how my job is running. Is it still running? You know, this file to app job, it runs for at least 3 to 4 hours. I have figured it long back, but it failed in between. I fixed the issue. So it's still running. Let it run on its own. We are not going to disturb it because we have several other things that we'll have to understand before we post an IDoc. Because IDoc is the last thing that we are going to do. So in the customer IDoc, now comes the important part. Let me show you what I mean by the important part. If you look at it, I mean, at least we got the basic settings there, the DMAS, and then we have corrected the message type, and then we corrected the receiver's partner number, and we have corrected the receiver's port. They are looking good now. But bottom part, if you see here, reset customer numbering, the flag is set to no. But I wanted to reset the customer numbering for the first time when I load it. From the second time, you are going to make this flag as as no, but for the first time when you're loading SAP, you want all the customer numbering to be reset, and it will install or give the customer number with a sequence, most probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the second time, you don't want the number to be reset. Instead, you want it to continue from where it is. Like it is the same way as a key generation transform that we did so far in data services. You all know how key generation works. So in the bottom, if you see, it says like customer master basic data, customer master sales data, partner roles, and then a tax indicator, company code, bank details, all this stuff. So if you wanted to run all this, you can go up to this one. But what does it mean running up to this one? Whereas you see here, generate IDoc required as N. You know, if you make this as S, only then the IDoc is getting generated. Till then, it will only do validations that are local to data services. It doesn't do anything else. Only when you wanted the IDoc to be generated, you can actually make this flag as Y, and then it generates the IDocs. Today, even I'm going to run the customer master job and then show you until I make this yes, you don't see any IDoc just getting posted. After I make this yes, the IDoc gets posted onto SAP, and we all can go and see the IDoc how it failed or what it failed, for what segment it failed and all. We will soon go there, but currently I just left the IDoc G underscore generate IDoc or underscore REQ as N, which means I'm not posting the IDocs. So I just saved this setting, and if I run this job, most probably the validations can go really easier. But you know, for the validations to happen, in general, all the lookup tables has to be loaded by now, which it did not load really. There are several problems in here loading these lookup tables because the files provided by SAP, some of them are good, some of them are really bad.
Ganapati,
Mm-hmm.
the process code is debian.
Yeah, I already put it. Sorry, I thought you already watched me putting it, but I'm sorry about that. I already put that Debian because I was able to see that is the one which is required for the customer master, and I have already picked it up and it came in. It got validated and I have already registered the message type as a debmas. But thank you for that, because I may be using you for the next IDoc whichever I'm trying to post, most probably the vendor. We'll do that when we reach the end of the session.
Okay.
So now, instead of waiting on whatever we have it here, let me just run the IDoc that I have on my own computer. So I'm just taking the IDoc job from the BPDM IDocs, and I'm going to run the customer master IDoc right away. But I will make sure some of them, the flags are not being set in the way that I don't post the IDoc first. First, I will run the validation process just to see if the source data that I received is right data or not. That is what I'll have to do at first. I am trying to look into if I can run it on my different computer, but I will just wait on and then do it even in my my own mission. You know, I can run the job, let it fail, we'll come back and fix it. That's okay. So this is for the first time we are running the customer IDoc master, customer master IDoc. Let us see if it really executes successfully. I'll be wondering if at all it gets executed successfully, because the lookup configurations are the most important thing that determine the success or failure. Meanwhile, we can just go and look at the customer master IDoc, and I will also show you while posting the IDocs, you need not post at a time all the IDocs. You can post one by one the basic data, the company code data, the partner data, everything after one another. But in the migration folder, when you trigger the job, let me show you which is the file it is going to take as a source data. After all, this is the package that SAP has delivered. They have given you some kind of a source data which we might be using. But first thing is I'm just running the job customer master IDoc. While it is running, let me show you in the migration folder that they have given, there is one folder which has the data. That is which one of them? This is the one, source files di_in, in which I'm going right now the job is running for this customer master data. It is not loading the SAP yet. That is the important thing you'll have to understand. We are just validating if at all the customer data that is being provided to us is right or wrong, some configuration is missing, some format is missing, some validation rule did not succeed, and things like that. See, unfortunately, this particular one doesn't open up. I know why it doesn't open up, because this is a CSV file, and I have a very older version of Microsoft, so it is not opening up. We can always open it with WordPad or Notepad, and we should be able to see it. What? I have this. I mean, I was surprised to see that there was no WordPad, but I see it here. Oh, if I open in WordPad, it is like blue and black. I don't understand anything in there. But this is the customer master data. Let me try to open one more time in a different way. Let me see if Notepad works, because this is a comma separated file, and I'm expecting Notepad at least to work for it. No. It might be right, but visibility wise, we don't see the data. So I'll just have to wait to open it in an Excel itself. So let me just try to open. If I open in Excel, okay, thank God. If you see here, there are several tabs in which the first thing is basic data. This is the basic data that I am trying to load it into SAP. So don't try to read the numbers or the names of these columns, because they are all in German. But what I know is the KUNNR is the customer number. Excuse me. So name one, you all know that it is the name, and rest of them is more like address, telephone number, his SSN number, and things like that. There is like most important customer data, but this is the basic data for a customer. Whereas the second one is customer related sales data. What is the currency of the customer? That is very important for us to raise an invoice, else you'll be in trouble. You sold something for an Indian customer and raised or used the dollars. He cannot pay you, because anyhow the conversion has to happen and he has to pay in rupees. So you would select what is the currency, what is the conversion rate, and everything from the sales data. Partner roles. This is also one other important thing to see, whether this customer is a partner in your business, which means he becomes an internal customer. Tax indicator data, license data, company data, reminder data, bank data, contract data, credit limit data. These are all the important things that you require while just making one person as your customer. So we are migrating this entire set of data from our source systems into our target, which is the SAP system itself. That is where we are trying to extract the data, transform it, and get them into this particular format. Whatever you see here, this is the SAP required format. It need not be in an Excel file, but still, whether you put it in a table, whether you put it in XML, it should be in this format, in this order. So the customer IDoc has started and it errored out. Obviously, it will error out because it says could not access C migration source files DI. Oh, okay. You know what? I just opened the file myself. So when the file is open, it will have these challenges. So it just failed. And by the way, the default has become the Notepad files instead of the Excel files. Let me see if that's the trouble. Still the extension is XLS, so I'm not worried. Let me rerun the job. There is no harm because we haven't posted the IDoc. The one unfortunate thing with SAP is once you post the data, IDoc got posted successfully or a failure, it is a very tough situation to clear the data from SAP system. But I'm trying to post it one more time. I currently closed the file which I kept open. That's the reason when I keep open the file, it cannot trigger that file and it just fails. Again, it could be the same error. Yeah. Most probably the file type is changed and so it is throwing this error. What could I do now? In the C, I have the migration folder. In the migration folder, I did take you to the important place where we saw all the source files. But then unfortunately, I don't know why the job failed saying the file does not exist. Most probably because I changed the file type. Let me just try to reset it the default file type. Okay, the default is set now. Let me run one more time to see if it is going to find the file there. I mean, all we are trying to assume is this is the data we have extracted from our source system and this is the data we are loading into SAP. But just before we load the data, we have to validate all kinds of validations that are put by SAP in picture. You have three kinds of validations they do. One is a mandatory check, other is a lookup check, third one is the enrichment that they perform on the data. And they also check the format actually. Oh, it still says the customer master.xls is not available in my migration folder. That's where I'm wondering why is it not available, because I see it there. Interesting. It's already opened exclusively by other user. Oh, you know, I still kept it open, man. That's the funny story there. If I rerun it, it should be successful now. I thought I closed that, but it was still open. So let me meanwhile check my job, the previous job. The lookup to file app is still running. Once this particular job is complete, we should be able to see data on migration services. The funniest thing is I tried to do more good and just have ran into a situation where I could not reconfigure the system in the same way I wanted to do. Because I did this configuration, everything was looking fine, but now again it doesn't look as I require it. So let me see what would be the best I could do. If not, I would show you this on my other system. So let me just see if the job has completed or still is running. The more failures we get, the challenging it turns, and we turn even really challenging for the system. Right now, if you see, the IDoc is still running. So what is it running? It is just running the validation. So while the job is running, let us go inch by inch in the customer master and see what is part of the customer master, what kind of validations it is doing, what we need to make sure and how we debug it and fix it. So if you see this SCR initialize and reset customer numbering required, I mean, this is, you have to decide if the customer numbering is required or not. And this is a setting that you make it to yes when you are running only for the first time. From the second time, if you try to reset, it is going to create a duplicate value there. So you don't want it to reset it. So this is for the first time I am posting the customer or validating the customer. That is the reason I made it as G reset customer numbering is equal to yes. Yes, I have requested for that, and it is going to post the numbering that is required for the customer, followed by the customer basic data. Now the customer basic data, the actual table, a technical table is E1K NAM 1M, which is the view actually. It is not the table, it's just a view in which you have the basic master. customer basic master data that you saw in the first table. So this is the source for it, which is the Excel file. You are trying to get the best practice fields, and then you have the entire different fields, and you are trying to post it to customer master data map, which is just a target table for you that loads data from IDoc. But loading into this particular table doesn't make anything useful for you. The next steps are the very much important steps. You have to see the validation of it. What is happening in the validation? You have three kinds of validation. One is the validate lookup, the other is the validate mandate.